Well, this game was one of the surprisingly competitive games early on last season, but USF ended up being a better team than we realized. Let's see if they can keep this one close in this year's edition of this home and home series between USF and Alabama. I am Colin Bashingle, your host here at Bash the CFB Show. You can find me over on TikTok at Bash the CFB Show, which is also linked down in the description if you don't want to look that up, with my X link and also my Twitch link. And I ask you guys comment down below who you think is going to win and by how much. Do you think USF has a chance at pulling off the unthinkable here? That is the real question. Comment it down below. Like the video too. Would really appreciate that one. All right. Alabama is playing host to USF, favored by 29 to 31 points, depending on when you got it and where you got it and where you're getting it from. This will be on at 7 o'clock on ESPN. The over-under pretty high for a game that only combined for 28 points a year ago. But USF, their offense didn't find their footing by that point yet. And they're going to lean on the run game this year. They're going to use their mobile quarterback, Byron Brown, who's also a physical runner. He's the type of guy who will carry the ball about 7 to 10 times to get you 50, 60 yards on the ground added each game. But they also got running backs like Teron Keith, Naquan Wright, and also Kelly Joyner, who took a good amount of carries a week ago against Bethune-Cookman. USF is more equipped to be able to attack secondaries than they were a year ago. A lot more equipped. When you look at the duo at wide receiver with Adkins and Rahman Yassin, I think that they're a little bit dangerous. There are a little bit mismatches there, and with an inexperienced Alabama secondary, we'll see what that looks like. USF's defense, they're definitely stingy, but they're not unbreakable. They're not a defense that's going to be unstoppable. And Jalen Milroe was not a hurdle that defense had to climb with his freak athleticism. See, on the Alabama side of things, they got big play potential out of Ryan Williams, the true freshman. He showed that, and then Kendrick Law also showing it a little bit. The QB run will be used a whole lot more than Alabama was capable of using last year, and that is something that Kalen DeBoer very early on was willing to show that he will use. This is also a running back by committee, but don't make no mistake, they believe that Jam Miller is their guy. Justice Haynes is a really good player, but Jam Miller, he's going to get the bulk carries. He's going to be the workhorse. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they found a big-time opportunistic player as post safety in Keon Sabb, who had a tremendous introduction to Tuscaloosa against Western Kentucky, who likes to throw it around the yard. Questions on how to handle a mobile quarterback, though, is something that's going to rear its ugly head in this game. There were times where TJ Finley was able to take off and run a week ago with virtually no spy, no contain, and going in with that scouting report, you knew he was limited as a passer, not limited as far as his ability to extend plays. Guess who's a better passer? And guess who's better at making plays with his feet? Byron Brown. USF's way to try to keep this close and give them a shot late in this game, they got to prevent the big play. They got to keep Ryan Williams under check, this run game under check. Jalen Milroe cannot break loose. Brown needs to use his legs. That weakness that I mentioned, he needs to use them. And it's not going to even be running the football. It's going to be extending plays if Alabama is able to get a pass rush, make that secondary have longer shifts play by play, extend the play. And then wide receivers, like I mentioned with Atkins and Rahman Yassin, both those guys needing to step up. But Alabama, their speed is just going to be too much at the end of the day. This pass rush, I believe, is going to get home enough on Byron Brown. And their offensive line, I think, and this is the main point, will assert its dominance and be able to push themselves down the field. I think USF keeps it competitive. I think 29 or 31 points or whatever is too much. I think USF is going to surprise some people. I think at halftime you're going to look up, this game's going to be like 14-10 or something like that, and Alabama has to pull out in the second half, and that's what they do. Alabama pulls away but wins 38-17. I think USF could potentially be the G5 representative in the college football playoff. I think highly of this team. I think this is one of the best group of five teams in America, and I think that they're going to show how tough that they really are in Tuscaloosa on Saturday.